It's time to finish the rest of my recording that I was doing yesterday. Basically, all I was saying was that to be mindful of, how you're being conditioned in society. And then I went back to talk about some of the history about psychological experiments that they did, psychosocial experiments actually that they did back in the 60s and 70s. And I shared a quote that I heard yesterday that if you fight with monsters long enough, you'll become one. So being careful of what you allow yourself to get engaged into, and those are two very good things that are right now steadfast in my life. And coincidentally, and this is a whole other topic, I watched two movies today. One of them is from 2014 called 13 Sins, and it was very interesting in the topic. It was this guy that was a 100% honest, do-gooder type person, and then he was working like a sales job, and he thought that he was going to be like top salesperson because he had made the most sales ever. He was always on top, blah blah blah, and it just sounded so familiar to me. So he went to work and he got fired, and they were just like, well, yeah, that's the top that you've ever made, but you could have done a lot more. Even though he was top, it wasn't good enough for them, because what they were saying was that instead of selling like gold plans, he talked them out of the gold plan and got them the silver plan because he felt like that was best suited for the customer's needs. But the boss didn't care about that. All he knew was that basically he felt like that guy stole money by downselling that person to something else. He was like, he just didn't want to rip people off. So what ended up happening was that he had his moral values tested and tried. What the boss said to him was kind of cold when he let him go. He was like, yeah, you're a coward, or something. And he was just getting married, had a new fiance, had a baby on the way, and he had a brother that was like mentally, that would be institutionalized if he wasn't able to, keep him at home and that type of thing. So, I mean, and then what ended up happening was that, and I didn't really get a chance to watch it that hard, but somehow this voice came to him, and I don't know if it was a real voice, like he picked up the phone and somebody was really there, or if he was just tripping out because of whatever he was going through. But basically, they were just like, well, you can get X million dollars if you do these 13 things. And it started out with something small, it started out with small stuff, and it got bigger and bigger. Like they were telling him to make some girl cry at the playground, just little things that went against his moral values. Now, the way this related to me, things that go against your moral values, is because, again, working this little entertainment job, in all my years, I've never had a situation where I've been pressured or threatened to do the wrong thing. Kind of in the legal system, I was a little bit because they kept trying to tell me, oh, say that you're guilty, but it wasn't true, so I wouldn't. And I know for a fact they could have pushed a lot harder for that to happen if they wanted to. But it's like selling your soul. Just like in 1984, I did the audiobook, but I'm sure it was read from the real book. 1984, the same thing, where they were saying, well, would you be willing to do these bad things to these children, and all this kind of stuff. They could have made it worse. Now, this is the first time I've ever been tried at this little penny indie job where I'm going to go pick up my stuff, by the way, so I can, clean my locker a little bit and all that good stuff. The same thing, like I said, I'm a minimum wage person, a quarter time, not even part time, like a quarter time minimum wage person, and they were trying to tell me that part of my job duty out of, and it is because I did the research, is to kick people out. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, but common sense. And then yesterday I was in a situation where I did have to do that, and again the false whatever, oh, you did a great job, far better than I would do, blah blah blah. But all that's a bunch of BS. Really, what the situation is that I feel like I really overstepped my boundaries. I did not do a good job in doing that, because what I should have done initially is I should have gotten, and he said not to get him because he might be busy. But that's definitely something a manager, should be a part of a handle. Even the senior person that was there wanted me to go first instead, because they weren't experiencing that. It's like I'm kind of got myself thrown under the bus first because he wanted to see how I would handle it. Just like when he went in, I wanted to see how he would handle it because neither one of us were familiar with this. But what happens when I talked yesterday about how the U.S. military did that with the Army and with the black soldiers at the forefront. Again, these are people that are known to be casualties. They're at the forefront because you're getting rid of them to protect whoever the people they consider to be higher up, the foot soldiers. And so that's kind of what the minimum wage workers are that are at the lower end that you put out there to do these things that could, risk your well-being. And not only that, but it puts you in a situation where the management could be in a position to do altitude where they'll say,
I just gave you a 50-yard touchdown.
it's too cute. But what but what they'll say is something like, they tell you to kick the person out, you kick the person out, and then after, there's an ants biting my feet. But after I look like a bum. But after, I just need to get my stuff and come right back. I'll be so happy when I get back. But after you kick the person out, then, of course, the person might say they did not do whatever you said they did and blah, blah, blah. And then the management is going to act like, oh, okay, well, this one time. You know what I mean? So you're kind of thrown under the bus. So I don't ever want to be in that situation. And I kind of put myself in a situation last time. And what it is that, again, you're taking authority where I feel like you really should. It's too much authority for you to be taken for the position that you have. And again, like after that happened, I went downstairs. It was a bunch of kids. Went downstairs, and there they were. And then it turns from something that goes from professional to personal. So, yeah, I can't wait to get this over with, get myself and go. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. So, so in the future, how will I handle this so that I feel good consciously about it and I don't feel like I'm migrating over to a point like in that Stanford University psychological experiment where because somebody told me this is what I'm supposed to do even though against my will, and then they congratulate me for doing what was wrong because I didn't even do it the right way. I wouldn't even say it was good, and then have everybody else cheering on. I don't want to be in that situation. So I have to change it to, fit me. So when I see something like that, going forward in the future, I'll address it. I'll make sure the first time that I address it, that I'm able to see and look and, pinpoint who's who. If somebody else addresses it first, then they need to make a note of, the identifying information, with that person. And then you go back the second time, all those persons, after you've made an ID with your eyes of the person and of their, papers, then you take it from there, and let them know that if you have to come back again, they're going to have to be asked to leave. Let a manager know, and then the manager do it from there. Because I don't think, again, it's not worth it. Not for minimum wage, not for quarter time, and not for a situation where you're not going to be back. Because I wasn't back. Of course, they were asked to leave, but they got reimbursed, so it was like no point. But so that's the one thing, like the Stanford University experiment, just being careful that you don't start to pick up whatever traits are programmed into you versus what you know is right and what you know is wrong, and sticking to it. Like they say, the hardest thing ever is to kind of maintain who you are when the world around you is constantly telling you to be something else. So the second one that I wanted to address is that when you fight with monsters, eventually you become that. And to be careful, again, the battles that you choose to get engrossed in, whether it's direct verbally, spiritually, or even acknowledging it. So keep yourself filled with good things so you're not allowing yourself to be overcome with the things that are negative. So that's it in a nutshell. So I'm about to be here, and my time is almost up, so peace.